Peace and blessings, everyone. I hope everyone is living their best life, which is a blessed life, family. I am Doctah Copeland in your ear once again. And today I'm sitting out here meditating, breathing in that fresh air, getting the sunshine, soaking it in. Like I said, the leaves are still on the trees, which means we're going to still have some more warm days. And I'm trying to grab them as much as possible, personally. Today, I come to talk to you all today about sugar. Once again, if y'all may have seen some of my previous videos about sugar, I'm ready to bring some other information and possibly some recap as well of some information on sugar. And for those who deal with the history of sugar, I think for those who've been following me, I did some videos pretty much about the history of food and different things of that nature. So before I even get started, I got to give my medical disclaimers. I'm only here for edutainment purposes only. This information is not to replace the advice of your medical professional. Not here to treat, cure, or diagnose anything that you may be having going on in your life right now. Now, with that said, let's proceed forward. And we're going to talk about sugar today. Basically, some of the history, family. I feel personally that, history of something, is dealing with Sankofa. For those who understand what Sankofa is, we got to understand where something came from to even know, what we got in front of us right now sometimes, So that's kind of what I want to kind of touch bases on. Now, they saying the largest producers, or we'll say customers of sugar right now, is the food processing industry. And, of course, the tobacco industry. I found that very interesting. Yeah, the tobacco that people smoke and stuff of that nature, whether it be blunts, whether it be definitely them flavor joints that got even more added chemicals in it on top of the sugar that's used to even process the tobacco paper or tobacco itself, in cigarette form or whatever way that you may consume it into your system. So it's a lot of sugar in tobacco, they say. So we got to maybe do further research on that. But for now, let's move forward. I thought I'd share that with us, peoples, and let you know about some of their history. Also, by the 1960s, they saying the sugar craze increased by 50% as far as being added to processed foods. So by the 1960s, like I was saying before, we in the computer age. We came out of what's called the agriculture age, and we went into the industrial age, in which in the industrial age period, we had around, what was that, the they saying 30s and 40s, they saying it was like even more mothers not at home now. So this is when it came out with more convenience or convenient foods, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. So they saying also, what else we had here about sugar? Okay, there's another one about tobacco. Let's get on that right quick. It was called Nicot. It's Nicot. Latin name for plant is Nicotonia. It's Nicotina. Okay, and Nicotonia was thought to possess a healing powers. Became a healing drug of its time back then, when it was more or less introduced in the European continent. So tobacco originally was produced as being promoted or marketed as had healing powers and stuff of that nature. Of course, our ancestors here, and of course, a few other continents, but I'm talking about here in Amarina, call it America. They used it for more spiritual reasons and different things, and I think they also use it for certain curative things. You can put it on wounds and different things of that nature. So yeah, it does have certain healing powers, but smoking it, I think it was more for like a spiritual rituals and other things of that nature as well. So let's move forward, fam. Let's move forward. Now, they saying in 1896, fam, it was a lady named Fanny Farmer. And Fanny Farmer came out with a cookbook, fam. And they saying that she was the originator of adding sugar to practically everything, whether it be bread, vegetables, salad, dressings, you name it. So Fanny Farmer, in 1896, I guess here in America, y'all can look up, pretty much came out of a cookbook, fam. And within that, I guess it became a famous cookbook. You know, had a lot of recipes, but it required sugar and a lot of it, you know. And so that's something to think about, because then you had Betty Crocker come out. It was actually, I think it was started by General Mills. We're gonna get to that in a minute. About Betty Crocker. I think I'm pronouncing it right. But she, you know, it was a famous cookbook, came out in the 1950s, 60s, 70s. Betty Crocker recipes. You know, then they had a fictitious character to play who she was, right? Let's move forward, then. So in 1991, so we moving up in the years now. In 1991, we have something called IRISE. That's A-R-I-S-E. I spell it again. That's A-R-I-S-E. Now, IRISE, that's the acronym for Associates for Research into the Science of Enjoyment. Let's listen to that again. IRISE, an organization that exists, 1991, since then. Might don't switched up the name by now. Hard to say. Maybe still the same. I didn't really dig into that. I'm just giving y'all some notes right now. Maybe when I get ready to do a lecture on this, it's coming real soon. I ain't gonna tell y'all the name of it yet. But yeah, I'm gonna do a lecture on sugar and stuff of that nature, and the effects on our body, and definitely history. I think that's very important because it had a lot to do with the European slave trade. Okay, so let's look at this. IRISE, let's get back to this. 1991, IRISE, the acronym ARISE, stands for Associates for Research into the Science of Enjoyment. The Associates for Research into the Science of Enjoyment. You know, living in life nowadays. This is 1991. What year we in now? 2020, what, 3? So that's what type of math is that, fam? About 30-some years ago. They had an organization, still probably have it. Might be called something else, probably have 2 or 3 subdivisions and everything else by now. I'm just thinking. The Associates for Research into the Science of Enjoyment. Making sure we are hypnotized, I'm thinking. This is my personal opinion. Hypnotized by the pleasures of certain entertainment, taming us, entertainment, and making sure we have plenty of enjoyment. That's heavy, y'all. The way I look at it, I might be tripping. I don't know. But anyway, let's move forward. Let's step forward. So, in 1885, let's go back some years. In Waco, Texas, fam. The Morrison Old Corner Drug Store. I say it again. In Waco, Texas, 1885. Morrison Old Corner Drug Store invented Doctah Pepper, fam. Now, a lot of these notes I got right here that I'm looking at is Michael Moss. He had a book called Salt, Sugar, and Fats. Very good resource book. If you want to learn some more about salts and its dangers and stuff like that. Also, I got one called Sugary Blues. What else I got? Maybe 1 or 2 other books on sugar. But anyway, let's get back into what I'm talking about now. So Waco, Texas, Morrison Old Corner Store, drugstore invented Dr. Pepper, fam. It was invented at the corner drugstore, fam. I don't know. They saying that they have over 27 different ingredients in Dr. Pepper. This is just Dr. Pepper. I ain't get on Pepsi or no cola. I'm just giving you some information right now, right? So, and it was a guy that came out, and they came out with something called the Bliss Point, fam. Okay? And I think if y'all go back, especially go to my YouTube, I did what's called the the line extension. That's what I did, a video on line extension, telling you about how products are formulated and put it in companies that took over certain spaces that possibly some independent companies years back in the 80s that I remember, or 60s, 80s and back, and we're gonna get on that in a second, that was, display of the choices that we had. But now, just like, certain companies, certain flavor, all these different flavors. And we're going to get on that. And that was called the line extension. But they also had something called the Bliss Point I talked about also in another video. If you go to my YouTube, that's at DoctahCopeland. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow me on there. I did a video about the Bliss Point and all that. Okay. Enough said about that. Let's move forward, fam. In 1980s, Prego sauce. They first ones to make, with the help of this guy named Moskowitz. I might be turning the dude's name up. It's Moskiwtz. That's Moskiwtz. Moskowitz. I'm thinking I'm saying his name correctly. In 1980, he was one of the, I guess we can say, scientists. Okay, they first made the chunky spaghetti sauce. And then after this, in the 80s, food companies came out with various flavors for brands. So by the 1980s, we starting to get a bunch of different flavors, like cherry, vanilla, sodas from Dr. Pepper. All these different flavors, family. We'll get back to that in a second. Let's move forward. And I was just talking about the Dr. Pepper coming out with the almond and cherry flavor, which was made with basilihide. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Let me pronounce it for you, just in case I'm turning up the word. Benzaldehyd. That's Benzaldehyd. Benzilla. Okay. That's how, you get that almond and cherry flavor. From my understanding, that's, some positive, some hazardous stuff to the human body, fam. Mix with that endocrine systems and digestive systems and, quite a few, maybe even psychological systems, dealing with that, sympathetic nervous system and stuff like that. But I'll let you do your own research. Let's move forward, fam. And like I said, around this time, 1980, that's when the line extension products in space at stores, it was more flavors starting to come out, more colors and etc. And more space was given to that particular company. And like I said, go back to my video where I talked about the grocery stores and convenience stores. I did one on convenience stores and conveniences of having the convenience stores and how they set them up and how different companies, as soon as you walk into the door and you look to your right, you're going to see certain flavors and brands. You look to your left, you're going to see certain flavors and brands. You look straight ahead, you're going to see certain flavors and brands by particular companies. And it's statistically put up that way since the 1980s was the starting points of this. Of course, it was before then, of course, but not into this marketing development that it came up, because by the 1970s, man, they found out that, children, and definitely African Americans, you know, we love some sugar and salt. And, you know, they were sitting around in the laboratory and I guess experimenting on people and stuff of that nature. And so they found out that, you know, hey, African Americans, melanated folks, people of the darkest, you know, of the melanated race, they saying them and kids is more addicted to the sugar and salt. So of course they had to market that. You know, they had to satisfy their customers. So in certain areas, certain convenience stores and so forth, there are certain products that we're receiving that may be having more higher contents of sugar or salt than other communities, fam. I mean, it is all business, I'm saying to them. So we have to be responsible for our health by getting the knowledge and understanding, okay, wait a minute. You know, what is happening here? What are the effects of what's going on? Remember when we talked about our electromagnetic bubbles and things that's electrifying, and part of that electrical current that we see is going to be the colors, and when we talked about colors and stuff like that, okay? And the electrical feeling we get when we, you know, bite into it, you know, so we are magneted to these things, like I said, as soon as we walk in the door, you know. Very few stores I don't see you walking, you gonna see fruits, vegetables, you know, unless you're in that type of market. But I'm talking about our convenience stores on almost every corner in certain places. It depends on where you live at, fam. I don't know. Look, I'm not gonna hold your ears up hostage too long, so let me give y'all some more information. We had a guy in the 1956. His name is Clausia. Make sure I'm saying his name's correct. That's Clausi. That's Clausia. He's got an invented Tang drink. The Tang drink that now we got all the, you know, you added, what they got, crystal lights and all that nowadays, right? It was made of 100% synthetic chemicals and sugar, fam. I remember the last time I was ready to do a concert with somebody. That was years ago. But anyway, that's how long it been. But anyway, I remember they said, I wanted some juice. And they said, I got some orange juice. I said, let me get some. And I drunk that stuff. And I said within 15 minutes, you know, I ain't really had this stuff in my body like that for years. I started throwing up, feeling all sick. I was like, oh man, what the world? You know, what's this stuff? He said, it was juice, man. It was Sunny Delight juice. Sunny Delight? That's not an orange juice, family. So I had drunk me a glass of chemicals, I'm assuming. And my body didn't like it. When you're throwing up like that shit, you know, excuse my French, but shit everywhere and all that, that's your body ejecting the poisons or trying to get rid of the toxins in the body, fam. So I knew, you know, something going on. You know. Come to find out it was Sunny Delight. Talking about it was orange juice. So that's how they got our mind programmed to think this, you know, 100% vitamin C and added and all this, all, but the rest of it is, you know, chemicals. Even the vitamin C is probably a chemical form. I'm just saying, fam. 1956, Claus came out with the Tang drink, family. That now, you know, it's so many different brands and stuff that's out nowadays. You'll follow that people buy and add to their water. Talking about I'm drinking water. I say, yo, once you add something in there, and once it touch the tongue, the body is gonna register that some type of food, and your enzymes gonna pop up, and in your stomach, your pepsins and all that is gonna fire up. It's ready to put that work in and breaking down some food, and you up there tricking your darn body up with some artificial stuff. We don't already talk about AI, so we don't get there. So they saying the original company of General Mills was called Washburn Crosby. That's Washburn Crosby. Y'all look that up. The original name of General Mills before it became General Mills was Washburn Crosby. Okay, and then that's when it goes to General Mills. Is the ones who came up with Betty Crocker. Remember, I was telling y'all about Betty Crocker a few minutes ago, and it came out in the 1950s. What's called the Betty's Kitchen. This was by General Mills. Of course, this is to help them, sell a lot of the General Mills products and contents that was coming out at that time. Recipes and advice in the cookbook helped arrive the fundamental shift in America's diet at the time of dealing with convenient foods. So now, that's when I was telling you, by 1955, they saying it was more than 38% more women was leaving home. You're not getting no home cooked meals no more from scratch. Stuff that don't marinated overnight. Got all that flavor in it. Went and go picked all week. And now, it's time for dinner. Didn't have time for that no more. We live in a new lifestyle. Things have changed. They say it's more convenient. You don't have to do it God's way no more. Man have made it a more convenient way for us to survive, right? So let's move forward. These are just my personal thoughts. As I read this information, as I go over this information, and just think to myself for a minute. Okay. Now, let me get ready to sign. Let me see. One more. Let me see. African Americans studies showed the sweeter and the fruit flavors. Okay, so they saying they did some studies on this, man. Of course, we like fruits, so that's when they start coming out with more fruity flavors, and definitely promoting it to the melanated race. You know what I mean? Now, some people, I know in this world nowadays, people are very touchy and everything matters and all this other stuff, and are you racist and all this because you may speak on cultural relations or things that you may be more familiar with. Then I can't speak on things I'm not familiar with. So that's why I want to make sure it's clear that I'm not what they call racist, because I'm not in no race. At the end of the day, an African, an American, we can't really be racist. At the end of the day, if you really break that down. But that's just another story for another day. So I want to make sure that's clear. I'm just knowledgeable for myself, or make sure I understood myself, which is I'm a black man. I'm an African in America. I'm Iranian, Aboriginal, whatever. World citizen. Let's move forward. I think that's going to be all I'm going to share with y'all today. And like I said, I'm looking to come in, maybe do some lecturing, speaking on podcasts and different things of that nature. I might start mine back. I used to have a TV shows for a few years and some radio shows, quite a few different ones. But, I might get back into what they call it podcasting now, fam. It's all great, But, I might, get that going. But in the meantime, y'all make sure y'all take and subscribe, like, follow. Make sure, get this information out if you find anything that was, has some jewels in it, something you may can use or share. And you may, remix. Also call me up for consulting services. I can do things over the phone, remotely. We can take and see what's possibly going on some imbalances in your health right now. And all that can be done at DoctahCopeland, and just Google that. And you can catch me, Go to my website and all that. All right, until the next time, y'all take and live in peace. Make sure you get out here, do some meditation, soak in this sunshine from get that vitamin D. Make sure it burns up that cholesterol and getting our cells active to do its process, metabolic processes as well, thing. And I'm gonna sign out, man. I'm probably don't hold y'all ears up too long, hostage, but it's all good. I love y'all. Make sure you're living your best life, which should be a blessed life. Go.